Last night we were challenged to tell our worst lab story.
Ooh.
And I told a couple of stories. I forgot about one that was actually my worst lab story,
Oh.
which happened to be in second year. And I was always really good in the lab, to such a degree that I was basically just, even fairly early on in undergrads when you're supposed to be supervised fairly closely, my lab TAs were pretty happy just to let me work. And then one day in the organic lab, I was doing an experiment, and I finished the final step and produced, in a round bottom flask, a gorgeous bright red oil. I don't know if you're familiar with organic labs in the undergraduate setting. Sometimes you wind up with something that is yellow, maybe a pale brown. Most of the time it's clear. Most of the time you're making white crystals. The only time you should ever have anything brightly colored is never in an organic lab. You should never ever have brightly colored anything in an organic lab. That's from inorganic labs, from making bright complexes with metals. You know how like yellow paint is made with lead, and or was made with lead, and like green paints were made with like nickel or copper. Those are the domains of metal chemistry. You should never have brightly colored red anything. And I show it to the TA, who looks at it, and he's like, okay, and he just casually walks over and dumps the entire round bottom flask in the halogenated waste carboy.
Didn't even save the glass. Just
No,
like
yeah, he's just
out,
like
gone.
Yeah, now we're done.
What if you had just discovered
That
a
was-
new element?
This was a lab TA named Steve. Steve had been a master's student since at least the 70s. Steve did not care. A friend of mine and I, later in our careers, would meet Steve in the hallway and ask him how his lab students were doing. And he told us a couple of them might make okay strippers, but the rest were just not going to do, not really.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't really care for them.
Steve was a class act.
Yeah, but it was just this smooth motion. It was great. Where he looked like he was thinking about how he would analyze this and figure out what it was.
What was it?
Fluid nope.
Do you know what you did wrong?
No.
But like when you redid that experiment, it didn't do the red thing then.
No. Well, no. I just used somebody else's results. He's just like, you, give him your spectra.
Yeah. Don't. Next time, don't use element X when you are.
It
putting
sounds like
it-
something had gone wrong,
Yes.
right? I had used the wrong reagent, which shouldn't be possible because there should be no wrong reagents in that lab.
It sounds like the teacher was like, you give this student your results because they clearly cannot be trusted to not make some sort of chlorine bomb.
It's this happens fairly frequently where somebody's reaction just doesn't go. So, part of the experiment is performing the experiment. A large part of the experiment is analyzing the experiment.
Yeah.
So you just, like I had experiments go very wrong later on in undergrad where the lab instructor was like, well, that didn't work, but if you can tell me what you actually made, then you'll get an A.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, I gotta give a big shout out to Hamish, who was my benchmate in OChem, because pretty much every single one of my reactions failed miserably, and I would not have been able to complete the next 7 exercises in the manual for that day if he hadn't given me some of his product, because he was good at chemistry and I was so thank you,
Yeah.
Hamish.
I don't remember what the initial experiment was. I'd have to go through my lab manuals, and even then I don't. It's organic chemistry. You're taking one lump of carbons and you're turning it into another lump of carbons.
Maybe you made that red matter stuff from Star Trek.
Ooh, that would be really handy.
Yeah, just don't put it into the center of a planet.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's fine.
I mean, it got incinerated, so it's all gone.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it survived.
Maybe
thriving
it's
somewhere.
Yeah, maybe it's deep within the incinerator now.
Maybe
Just
that's-
gathering strength.
Maybe that's why they're actually renovating all the science buildings on campus.
That's what happened to all the rabbits on campus.
Too soon.
They went to live on a ranch in Texas. They told everyone they went to live on a ranch in Texas.
That's definitely what happened. So
or a bunny ranch up island, literally. No, it's totally legit. I don't know. Like, could you make groundspeople just like stuff campus bunnies into a sack and then throw them in the river? I don't think you could actually do
I
that.
don't think you could. Well, you could ask.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're union.
Now
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Rabbits. Have they made a comeback at all?
Them too.
No, occasionally there are wild hares.
Yeah.
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 The wild ones have made a comeback, which is nice.
What I've heard about is that there are now rats on campus.
Oh.